Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. Well, COVID cases going up in 4 states, leading to an India surge of cases as well. In Maharashtra, the crackdown on big weddings begins. And in Bengaluru, the city corporation chief warns of trouble in days ahead if cases keep rising. The Home Minister Amit Shah chairs a meeting on India vaccinations. The Congress government in Puducherry falls. The Congress currently has no state government in the south. Ex-Chief Minister Narendra Modi attacks what he calls his political horse trading. Will there be an alternate front of President's rule before polls in April-May? Meanwhile, in Kerala, Rahul Gandhi's tractor rally against the new farm laws. Also, a huge Mahapanchayat held in Punjab on Sunday. Our special report on this debt-ridden father and son who died by suicide in Punjab. Now it's Mamta's Parivar versus the CBI in West Bengal. Just months before elections, the Prime Minister's Bengal campaign targets Mamta's corruption. Mamta says, "Don't frighten us with threats of jail." Poet activist Varavara Rao gets bail in a tough anti-terror case. The Bombay High Court grants 6 months conditional bail on health conditions. He's 81 years old, been in jail since 2018, waiting for a trial. The India's Medical Association asked the Health Minister to explain why he was part of a launch of Ramdev's anti-corona drug, saying it's surprising the minister promoted a drug which hasn't been cleared by the World Health Organization as claimed. The IMA asks, how did this drug get drug controller approval? The Sensex falls over 1,000 points, closing below 50,000. It's the 5th consecutive day that markets have been falling. This time, as cases rise in India as well, hits sentiment. And well, going 50 feet high to get a phone signal. This Madhya Pradesh minister has no choice but to be on the swing to make a call. Our lead story tonight, where we begin this week with the latest figures showing the steepest rise in India's active COVID cases since the end of November. So, mainly, what's behind that rise? The worrying trend is in 4 states. That's the reason. In other states, there's still a decline. But Maharashtra is the big worry because we can see in the figures Maharashtra's cases surging. Also, Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh's weekly average is the highest in nearly 1 month. In Karnataka, the constant decline is also reversing. There's been an uptick in weekly average cases. That's why the city chief also warned of trouble in the days ahead. Also, Punjab's COVID cases are rising as well. And today in Maharashtra, the first day of tough new restrictions, the state administration is taking no chances, whether it's cracking down on big wedding functions and also challans for not wearing masks.
In Mumbai, Palghar, Jalgaon, police stopping marriage celebrations, filing cases where necessary. With a sharp spike in COVID cases, which could be linked, officials have said, to a mutation, the Chief Minister has left it to the district officials to respond suitably. So Amravati will be in lockdown from Monday night to February 28. In 3 towns in Akola district, the lockdown will be there till the 1st of March. But in the rest of the district, shops can remain open from 9 to 5. Schools and colleges are shut in several parts, including in Pune till next Sunday and in Nagpur till 7th March. Nagpur's main markets will also be closed next weekend. Nashik will have a night curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. on Monday night. The penalty for not wearing masks is now 1,000 rupees, up 5 times. Social, political, religious programs have been banned till March 7th across Nagpur.
सम्माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने कल अनाउंसमेंट किया कि मैं जवाबदार, तो यहाँ पर कोरोना के लिए केवल सरकार जवाबदार नहीं, तो हमने खुद भी जवाबदारी लेनी चाहिए, क्योंकि लोग बिंदास घूम रहे, मास्क नहीं लगा रहे हैं और लोग मार्केट में जा रहे, रश कर रहे हैं.
While health experts and sequencing report of samples from Amravati, Yavatmal and Satara have raised the possibility of an Indian strain, the government says there's no report which confirms yet.
While the administration has now started taking strict action after rise in COVID cases, it would be very important to see whether people follow these guidelines or not, because if they don't and the number of cases goes on increasing, the Chief Minister has already issued a warning that a lockdown would be implemented across the state. In Mumbai with camera person Rajendra Dayalkar, Sohit Mishra, NDTV.
But it's not just the absolute number of cases. What's extremely important is the positivity rate. That's the rate as compared to the number of tests. So we can see that 5 states and union territories are of special concern. The national average of the weekly positivity rate is at 1.7%, but Maharashtra, Kerala, Goa, Andhra Pradesh and Chandigarh have a higher weekly positivity rate, going in Maharashtra's case up to over 8%. So that's really what needs to be watched out for. And in Bengaluru, there's been a small rise in cases in the last week or last 6 days. And the civic body chief has cautioned that if COVID cases aren't contained, if COVID appropriate behavior not followed by people, a possible lockdown could even be considered.
13 million population. Every day we are getting some 200 to 300 COVID positive cases. So this we have been very clearly and emphasizing again and again that if people don't follow COVID appropriate behavior, then we may be in for trouble in the next few days.
And the Home Minister, because of course the only thing that can beat the COVID spread is vaccinations. The Home Minister chaired a high-level meeting on vaccinations today. Sukirti has the details. Sukirti, who was in this meeting? What was the big focus on increasing the pace of vaccinations?
Well, yes, this meeting was attended by top officials of the Prime Minister's office as well as top health ministry officials. The Principal Secretary to the PM was present in the meeting. So was Health Secretary Mr. Rajesh Bhushan, the Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, AIIMS Medical Director Dr. Randeep Guleria as well as Niti Aayog member and Chairman of the Vaccine Administration Committee Dr. V.K. Paul. So all of these people were part of this key meeting that took place today. One aspect of the meeting was of course the resurgence in cases, especially with states like Maharashtra, Kerala, Punjab, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and what has been the centre's action plan that has been suggested to these states, the increase in RT-PCR testing as well as any emerging cluster of cases, and whether centre can provide any possible assistance to these states. So all of these options were discussed, and the other part of course was how is the vaccination pace going to be increased, considering India plans to start vaccinations for the general public based on their age groups from mid-March. So how is that pace going to be increased? So the Health Secretary informed the Home Minister that they plan to increase the vaccination drive space by increasing the number of vaccination sessions or sites. All public health facilities from district level hospitals to primary health centers have been asked to gear up for vaccinations from 1st of March itself, so that they can start off by vaccinating healthcare and frontline workers. But by mid-March, all of these public health facilities should be prepared to vaccinate the general public, and also all of these states should now be ready to vaccinate on at least 4 days of every week. Some of them have been vaccinating on only 2 to 3 days.
No, of course, Sukirti, that comes as the private sector has been asking to let the private sector be involved, let it come into the market, because now there's concrete evidence globally that vaccinations are working in bringing down the case load. Look at results in the United Kingdom and Israel. In the United Kingdom now, 1/3 of adults have been inoculated with 1 dose. After that, hospitalizations have come down drastically. 18,000 now, down from a peak of almost 40,000. The 4th week after the first dose in Israel as well. Hospitalization down 85% for Pfizer jabs, 94% for Israel for AstraZeneca. Israel, of course, has the highest per capita jabs, with 1 jab given to almost half the population. And again, the report is 89.4% efficacy, and Pfizer-BioNTech 99% effective at preventing deaths. So vaccinations working. We need to vaccinate India much, much faster. Meanwhile, controversy over a coronal drug done by Baba Ramdev's company, and this was actually launched by the Health Minister and Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari just last week. But the WHO came out saying that this hasn't been cleared or certified by them. Yet, the Drug Controller of India had gone ahead and given approval to this as well. And Baba Ramdev had claimed WHO certification. Today, the Indian Medical Association came out with a strong statement asking the Health Minister why he actually had cleared this drug. Why was he there when these claims were being made? Is it ethical? And also, what actual clinical trials and clearances has this drug got, and why did the drug controller actually give it permission?
वो आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन उन्होंने ऐसा कहा है कि WHO DCGI ने अप्रूव किया है। WHO के ऑफिशियल ट्विटर हैंडल के ऊपर ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, उन्होंने खंडित किया है इस बात को। एक हेल्थ मिनिस्टर होने के नाते डॉक्टर जो वहां मौजूद थे उन्होंने ये बात का समर्थन किया है, तो इसके बारे में आज NMC को भी आम लिख रहे हैं और ऑब्जेक्शन ले रहे हैं इसके बारे में।
Well, the other big headline in Puducherry, the Congress government has fallen just months before the elections. Puducherry's Chief Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, quit on the floor. He blamed the BJP for political horse trading, and also former Congress MLA, who has formed the NR Congress, of conspiring to bring down his government by buying MLAs. But more worrying for the Congress is that they've lost another state government, and they now actually have no state government in the south.
Sir. Before resigning as Puducherry Chief Minister, Narendra Modi blamed the BJP and NR Congress of conspiring to bring down his government by purchasing MLAs.
NR Congress and ADMK wanted to dislodge our government. In that, they have succeeded by using the voting power that has been given to these three nominated MLAs. It is murder of democracy.
The Lieutenant Governor now needs to decide whether to recommend President's rule or invite the opposition to form the government before elections due in May. The NR Congress and AIADMK, along with 3 nominated MLAs, add up to 14, just about enough to form the government.
நம்பிக்கை வாக்கெடுப்பு நடத்தணும் அப்படி தான் கேட்டிருக்கோம். ஆளுநர் அவர்கள் கடிதம் வந்ததுன்னா எங்கள் கூட்டணி கட்சி இருக்காங்களா, எதிர்கட்சி இருக்காங்க, அவங்களோட கலந்து ஆலோசித்து பிறகு.
The BJP has no elected representatives in Puducherry and will hope to expand its footprint in the Union Territory and be part of a ruling coalition. Already 2 of the 5 MLAs who quit the Congress have switched to the Saffron Party.
இப்போ நாம் ஆட்சி அமைக்கிறத முயற்சிக்கிறதா அதை ஆட்சி அமைக்கிறதா அப்படின்றதெல்லாம் எங்களுடைய தேசிய தலைமை தான் முடிவு பண்ணுவாங்க. அதை ஆட்சி அமைக்கணும்னு அவங்க சொன்னாங்கன்னா செய்வோம், இல்லைன்னு சொன்னாலும் நாங்கள் நேரடியாக தேர்தலை தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு நாங்கள் தயாராக இருக்கோம்.
For the BJP, Puducherry offers scope to expand its footprint beyond Karnataka in the south. With the fall of the Narendra Modi government in Puducherry, the Congress is not ruling any state in the south. It's a psychological game of one-upmanship for the BJP. vis-a-vis its national political rival. In Puducherry with Palaniswamy and Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
Well, moving now to our special other focus, and that's of course on the farmers' protests and what's currently happening. As government sources say that the farmers' protests seem to be fizzling out, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi held a tractor rally in his constituency, Wayanad, in Kerala today.
Rahul Gandhi driving a tractor leading a 6-kilometer long rally in his parliamentary constituency of Wayanad, an agrarian district of Kerala.
3 laws are designed to allow 2 or 3 people to own and control Indian agriculture. In my parliament speech I said in Hindi, "Hum do, hamare do." And I wrote to the government in Delhi and said to them that this is completely unacceptable.
Kerala isn't a predominantly agrarian economy except few districts like Wayanad. In the state, whether it be the ruling left Pinarayi Vijayan government or the principal opposition, that is the Congress-led UDF, both have strongly opposed the centre's farm laws.
But attacking not just the centre, in Kerala where assembly elections are expected shortly, Rahul Gandhi also hit out at the Pinarayi Vijayan government for the centre's draft notification on eco-sensitive zone, a buffer zone that bans several economic activities around protected areas like Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary.
We asked a question in Parliament and we were shocked when the government of India, the minister told us that the reason the buffer zone has been put in place is because the government of Kerala has recommended it.
Chief Minister of Kerala Pinarayi Vijayan, in a letter written earlier to Prime Minister Modi amid protests, has sought his intervention, saying Kerala government submitted an amended draft based on people's concerns. Kerala recommended 88.2 square kilometer of area around Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary as eco-sensitive zone. But centre's current draft notifies 118.59 square kilometre around Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary as eco-sensitive zone. With camera person SP Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
This as farmers groups have now decided to keep holding Mahapanchayats across Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, and visuals coming in of these huge gathering which farmers unions claim are over 1 lakh farmers and workers at a rally in Punjab's Barnala district on Sunday. They said this Mahapanchayat is an answer to the government claiming that the farmers' protests are running out of steam. But let's not forget what the main issues are behind these farmers' protests. And in another tragic case, a father and son, both farmers, have died by suicide because of the death they've actually faced. They blamed both Prime Minister Modi and the new laws and Chief Minister Narendra Singh's not waiving loans for them. Farmers' unions now claim that over 248 farmers have died in the protests against the new farm laws.
A father and son died allegedly by suicide in Punjab's Hoshiarpur on Friday night. The farmer duo committed suicide by consuming Cellforce tablets that causes acute aluminium phosphide poisoning. 70-year-old Jagtar Singh and 42-year-old Kirpal were marginal farmers. They left behind 2 separate suicide notes, blaming both the centre for not repealing the farm laws and Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh for not waiving the debt of 3 lakhs taken from a village cooperative society.
दिमागी टेंशन तो रखते हैं दिल्ली वाले आंदोलन करते हैं करजाई ने ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ 1 ਕਿਲਾ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੇ ਮਿਹਨਤੀ ਸੀ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਅੰਦੋਲਨ ਵੀ 10-15 ਦਿਨ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ
The district administration claimed that father Jagtar Singh owned 6 acres of land and hence was not eligible for debt waiver scheme. Jagtar Singh is survived by another son and a married daughter. Jagtar's wife had passed away a few years ago. The Punjab government has announced 5 lakh rupee compensation for each to relatives of farmers dying because of the agitation, like the family of 85-year-old Moga farmer Gurbachan Singh, who died due to a heart attack at protest last December.
ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ 5 ਲੱਖ ਤਾਂ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਨੌਕਰੀ ਦਾ ਹਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਜੀ ਹਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਨੌਕਰੀ ਮਿਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੀ
The Sanyukt Kisan Morcha or the United Farmers Front says 248 farmers have died in the agitation since November 26 last year. Of these, 202 farmers are from Punjab, 36 from Haryana, 6 from Uttar Pradesh, 1 each from Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Uttarakhand.
सबसे पहले तो ऐसा हमारे आइडिया था कि ह्यूमन कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट जो इंसानों की कीमत है जो आंदोलनों में उसको ध्यान में रखा जाए ने डाटा रिकॉर्ड करना स्टार्ट किया जो इस आंदोलन में शहीद हो रहे हैं जिनकी डेथ हो रही है
The Union Agriculture Minister had clarified in the Parliament that there is no provision to provide compensation to farmers who have died in this protest. Now it is civil society members, Punjab government and farm union leaders who are compiling data of those who have died and providing them with all sort of support. But it's time now that the union government and the farm leaders end this deadlock, hold a meeting to avoid any further loss of human life. In Chandigarh, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
Meanwhile, in West Bengal, there's now a new rival to Mamata Banerjee as the CBI is taking on her family. They're stepping up their probe into an alleged coal scam, which the CBI claims involves Mamata Banerjee's nephew, Abhishek Banerjee's family. They today questioned the sister of Abhishek Banerjee's wife as well. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister on the election trail today in West Bengal didn't refer to this at all, though he attacked Mamata Banerjee's corruption. Mamata Banerjee hit back, saying they're not frightened of anyone or frightened of going to jail, saying this is a political vendetta.
Not a word on the coal theft case or the CBI at Trinamool MP Abhishek Banerjee's door, something that is rocking politics in Bengal. But the Prime Minister launched a sharp attack on corruption by Mamata Banerjee's party and government.
सरकार ने जो माहौल बनाया है, कट का जो कल्चर बनाया है, सिंडिकेट के हवाले बंगाल दे दिया है, उसी के कारण ये माहौल बिगड़ता गया है।
All this as CBI arrived today at the gates of Abhishek Banerjee's sister-in-law. Tomorrow, CBI will be at his own doorstep to question his wife, Rujira. In her letter to CBI, Rujira Banerjee has said she has no idea why she is being questioned. A coal theft case, say CBI sources. BJP has repeatedly linked Abhishek Banerjee to it.
কয়লার লালার টাকা কোথায় কোথায় যায়? থাইল্যান্ডের রাজধানী ব্যাংককে যায়। কয়লার টাকা কোথায় যায়? ব্যাংককে আমি নিয়ে এসেছি প্রমাণ।
কোথায় কোথায় কি বলছে? ঘুমাচ্ছে ভাইপো, উঠছে ভাইপো, সকালে হাঁটছে ভাইপো, খাচ্ছে ভাইপো, আতঙ্ক হয়ে গেছে। আমার বউকে টার্গেট করেছে।
Soon after CBI visited his home on Sunday, Abhishek Banerjee tweeted and said, no question of bowing to such pressure tactics. Mamata Banerjee did not tweet. She spelt it out.
আপনাদের ধমকানি চমকানি আর জেল টেল দেখি প্লিজ আমাদের ভয় দেখাবেন না।
Dates for assembly polls are likely any day now. Pressure cooker Bengal is on the boil. With Saurav Gupta in Hooghly, in Kolkata, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
In other news, 81-year-old poet activist Varavara Rao has got bail even though he's facing tough anti-terror charges as the Bombay High Court granted 6 months conditional bail. He's been in jail since 2008 waiting for trial in what's become a politically controversial Bhima Koregaon case.
Relief at long last for revolutionary poet-writer Varavara Rao as the Bombay High Court on Monday gave him conditional bail for 6 months on medical grounds. The 81-year-old is accused of making inflammatory speeches at Elgar Parishad on December 31, 2017 that allegedly triggered violence at Bhima Koregaon the next day. Rao has been under custody awaiting trial since August 2018.
Keeping the track of the case going on, we were not really very hopeful. That is, at every stage, for everyone, bail has been rejected and small things also were not given, were not granted. So, it's a relief to us.
Varavara Rao is expected to furnish a personal bond of 50,000 rupees, stay at Mumbai and be available for NIA court investigation and trial. He cannot contact any co-accused or talk to media. Rao is expected to surrender to Taloja jail after 6 months or apply again for bail. The court spoke about the precarious health condition of Rao, who has been ailing for some time now and had contracted COVID while in jail in July 2020.
I think the court has accepted the argument that prisoners have fundamental rights and they have the right to health and to life and liberty. So that I think is it's a big day.
83-year-old Stan Swami, another tribal activist accused in the case, was denied a sipper and straw for several weeks even though he suffers from Parkinson's disease that makes simple daily activities challenging. 70-year-old civil rights activist Gautam Navlakha was not allowed to get his spectacles for weeks, though his vision was impaired without them. Activist Sudha Bharadwaj has also been in jail for over 3 years with no bail, despite health challenges. Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Well, from over 80-year-olds to 22-year-olds, activist Disha Ravi will be in police custody for 1 more day. She's facing charges of sedition. Her bail hearing comes up tomorrow as well. The police had asked for 5 more days. A court today only granted 1 more day. She was also brought to the Delhi Police Cyber Cell today for questioning, as was lawyer Nikita Jacob earlier, and another activist Shantanu, who are also both accused currently by the Delhi Police. Well, a quick look at other news. Indian equity benchmarks faced heavy selling pressure today and fell for the 5th session in a row on the back of a broad-based selling pressure as investors locked in profits in high-flying stocks. Also, fresh COVID-19 restrictions in parts of the country also weighed on market sentiment. The Sensex dropping over 1,000 points, closing at below 50,000. The Nifty 50 index also tumbling 2% or 306 points to settle below 15,000. And finally, well, we all faced how tough it is to get mobile phone signals. So this Madhya Pradesh minister decided to, well, go 50 feet high to try and catch a signal with this swing. So this this video going viral, there he is on a swing going up 50 feet to get the mobile phone signal. He finally apparently made his call.